Okay, this section is 8.6. We are factoring trinomials, exactly what Lexi wanted to do. Okay, so there's two types. We're going to do it when a is 1, and then we're going to do it when a is greater than 1. We're going to do the a is 1 first, okay? So that means, remember, this is the equation, ax squared plus bx plus c. You've seen this before. We are just going to do it when a is 1, so that means we don't need that a there. So we're going to ask ourselves, what times what makes this c value? So this c's a number, right? So I always put q and p, okay? So q times p makes c. Now, those same two numbers have to add together to make b. Okay, so whatever two numbers I come up with, they have to also add together to make b. And then I circle them and go, hey, that works. And then I have to remember and know in my head that x squared is really made from x times x. The only two things that make x squared is x times x. Or if it was t squared, it's t times itself, right? T times t. So then we need to make two sets of parentheses, right? Usually they're blank right here. Parenthesis, parenthesis. So how I remember this is if they were siblings, if they lived together when they are kids, they cannot live together later on in life. And see how x's are in front? So the x's had to be in front. So I put one of each of the x's in each of the parentheses, and one of the q's and one of the parentheses, one of the p's and parentheses. Now the p and the q do not matter which one goes in where, right? Just like we talked about last section with grouping, it does not matter the order of the groups of parentheses. It just matters that you have the right answers, okay? So with that, over here is this chart, okay? This is going to be really helpful. So again, B and C are numbers. So if B is positive and C is positive, that means both numbers I come up with are going to be positive. This is going to help you. I would save this, write this down, memorize it, like Morse code it to your arm. Okay. Next, if B is negative but C is positive, they're both going to be negative. That's because a negative times a negative is a positive, but when you add them together, they're still a negative, okay? Then if C is negative, but B is positive, your greater number is positive, your smaller number is negative. So if I had like 9 and 4, my 9 would be positive, my 4 would be negative. So when you add them together, they would actually make a smaller number. And then if C is negative and B is negative, your greater number is negative, your smaller number is positive. I would write this down and have this out every time you do one of these problems, any kinds of them, okay? So let's go back to some of these examples. So this first example, d squared, can you see it? Nope, okay, hold on. D squared plus 11d plus 24. So I'm gonna write it over here. So I ask myself, what times what makes 24 and adds to be 11? Well, the first thing I think of is 6 and 4. Well, 6 plus 4 is 10. So I'm close, but it's not right. So then I go, okay, what whole numbers multiply to make that? So 8 and 3. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 plus 3 is 11. So those ones work. So I circled them. The only thing that makes d squared is d times d. So again, two sets of parentheses. I have a d in each, and then I have 8 and 3, and they're both positive, so plus 8 plus 3. Again, I could have put 3 here and 8 there, but it does not matter, okay? Next one, t squared plus 10t plus 9. So you ask yourself, what times what makes positive 9 and adds to be positive 10? Now, these are both positive, so your answers are positive. So 9, I go 3 times 3. Well, 3 plus 3 is 6. And then 1 times 9. 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 times 9 is 10. So then it's t plus 1 and t plus 9. Okay, see where I'm going? The w's, w squared minus 11w plus 28. So now we have a negative middle. So this is positive for C, but negative for B. That means they're both going to be negative. So 28, you work it out, you think, okay. 28 is 7 and 4. They're both negative. That's the first thing I think of. If I add negative 7, negative 4 together, do I get negative 11? I do. It doesn't always happen, but usually your first instinct is a good one. And then w minus 4. And then that's it. Okay? M squared minus 22m plus 21. When the numbers are this close together, they're usually numbers right next to each other. They should both be negative because this is positive and that's negative. So then, let's think 21 and negative 21, negative 1. That works. So m minus 21 and m minus 1. Okay, next one. Now B is positive and C is negative. So B is positive and C is negative. That means the greater number is negative, okay? Well, greater number is positive, lower number is negative. So 15. 15, I think of 3 and 5. Well, 5 is positive and 3 is negative. 5 minus 3 is 2, so that works. So x plus 5, x minus 3. Look, pretty easy, okay? Not so bad. Here's a few more. They all work. Try them out, see if you can get the right answers. Okay? Just check them out. Again, if you want to check and make sure your answer is right, FOIL these and you will get the original startup problem, okay? Now, A is 1. There is 2 versions, but we decided as a class we're only going to do the algebra way so we don't try to confuse you. So the way to do this is this. When A is 1, there's 2 steps. You do something in the beginning and something in the end. So I give you an example. 5x squared minus 13x plus 6. So the first thing you do is you take that 5, move it to the back, multiply it by the last term, so you rewrite it so there's no more 5. So we have x squared minus 13x plus 30. So now it's just like doing one of those other problems. What times what makes 30 and adds up to make negative 13? Well, since b is negative, they're both negative. Well, negative 3 and negative 10, those add to make negative 13, right? So I wrote x minus 3 and x minus 5. Here's the tricky part. See how we multiply in the beginning? So we change the problem, so we have to like unchange it, okay? So you ask yourself, 5, what makes 5? The only 2 answers is 5 and 1. So you go, out of those 2 numbers that we have, which one can evenly divide by 5, and which one can divide by 1? Because we multiply in the beginning, so we're going to divide in the end. So I wrote divide by 5 under 10 and divide by 1 under 3. Obviously, that's not going to do anything, but just showing you. And then if you divide by 5 here, that 5, you draw an arrow from the 5, and you're also going to put it in front of the other because that 5 has to affect both groups of parentheses. This is the weird part. So you put an arrow in front of the parentheses over there, and for the 1, you throw an arrow over there. So then you follow this. That arrow comes from the 5, so put an arrow in front. Then I have an x. Minus 3 divided by 1, which is 3. So that's my new set of parentheses. Then I have an arrow here. That's a 1. I don't have to write it. So x. And then minus negative 10 divided by 5 is 2. So this is my actual final answer because I've gotten rid of the extra multiplication I did in the beginning. Okay? So now let's look up here. I did cross a couple off because we learned, one, that this problem right here is the same as the problem we did, and this one didn't work. So I must have made it up. I don't know what happened to me when I wrote it. So this one right here, okay? 3x squared minus 17x plus 20. Okay, so take 3 and 20. X squared minus 17x plus 60. So you ask yourself, what times what makes 60 and adds up to 17? 60 is a lot, so I would think 15 and 2, and they would both be negative, because that's, well, it's not 15 and 2. God bless America. It's 15 and 4, right? And they're both negative. Those do not add to make that. Okay. You try again. It's got to be a double-digit number because that's pretty close. So 12, negative 12, and negative 5. Negative 5 and negative 12, that adds to make negative 17. So you have x minus 12 and x minus 5. Now, we multiplied by 3 in the beginning. So which one of those divides by 3? It's 12, so put the 3 there. So 3 is made by 3 times 1. Put the arrow in front of the other group. So that's answer, I'm going to write it up next to it, is 3x minus 4. I'm sorry. X minus 4, sorry. And then 3x minus 5. Okay. Now this next one, 2, 3, 5. So we have 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. Take the 2. So we have x squared plus 3x minus 10 after we multiply. So 10. What times what makes negative 10 but adds to make positive 3? B is positive, C is negative, B is positive, C is negative. Greater numbers positive. So 10, I make 5 and 2 first. When I add those, hey, look, that works. So x plus 5, it just takes practice and good math skills, like mental math skills. You get time. And then we had a 2 in the beginning. Which one of them divides by 2? Put that 2 in front of the other group. I'm going to write the answer. It is 2x plus 5 and x minus 1. Okay. I don't have a lot of room. I did not space my space out real good. Okay, let's try 6. 6x squared plus 22x minus 8. Now, one thing you can always do is, you see it? I'm left-handed. So, one thing you can always do is, if these are all even, you could always go, can I pull out a GCF of this? And this does happen maybe like in your homework. And it's going to make your life easier because it might turn a problem like this into a problem like this, right? Where there's no a is 1. So, say 2, 6, 22, and 8, they're all divisible by 2. So 3x squared plus 11x minus 4. Okay, that makes my number smaller. So you leave that 2 alone and you just take that 3 back. So then x and x, and then negative 12 and 11. So positive and negative, that means the greater is positive, the lower is negative. It's going to be negative 12 and negative 4. Oh, sorry. And then, again, still divide by 3. Which one divides by 3? Put the arrows. And then you're just going to have to remember to bring this 2 down. So for this one, you have a 2 on the outside. And then you're going to have x plus 4 and 3x minus 1 because I put the 3 in front. Okay, it just takes practice. Always can ask your friends for a little help if you need it. If this is not helpful, we're just going to forget about the other way and let me know if you need any help.